Here we go again. Are you ready? I think I'm ready too. Well, it's going to be a really great program today. Today, we'll be focusing on pleasuring, as in pleasuring each other. I hope that this is a pleasurable experience for you. My name is Brian Martin, and I write books on love, and I like to talk about love because love is the most important thing in the world. Love is the most powerful thing in the world. Love is the only thing that's going to abide and remain long after political parties come and go, governments rise up and go away. Incredible changes in the world will happen. But as long as human beings are alive, there will always be love. And love will be the most powerful thing in the world. So that's why I write about it. I've written several books. I've shown you them before. Kindness is the most powerful little thing in the world. 3 types of transformational kindness. And it's available on Amazon. And eternity is the E in love. I read some of this last night before we went to bed. It's got some good stuff in it. And I've also written a book called Fun Loving, How to Have a Practically Perfect Relationship. I talk about that a lot. And then this fun little book that I did, I had a blast with this. It's My Ideal Day of Love. It's 26 little vignettes about love that are just delightful. Some of them are really funny. But today, we're going to be talking about pleasuring. And pleasuring is one of the most important aspects of maintaining and sustaining an emotional connection. Oh, and by the way, if you're tuning in and you know that I'm early today, it's because today we're having a special breakfast at our house, and I get to help make it. And it's going to be delightful. And so I'm coming on a little early today so that I can be with you and not be rushed later on. So it's important for me to spend some time with you. Are you ready? Here we go. Pleasuring. The title is Pleasuring All Night and All Day. Merriam-Webster online defines pleasure as a state of gratification, sensual gratification, frivolous amusement, a source of delight. Pleasuring is the giving of gratifications, frivolous amusements, and being a source of delight. Wanted pleasuring is one of the best ways to maintain a strong emotional connection. Please note that the qualifying word is wanted. If wanted pleasuring is one of the best ways to maintain a strong emotional connection, unwanted pleasuring is certain to kill it. The whole premise of love is to provide safety. Without a strong feeling of safety, one is not free to love. Why? Because the need to feel safe hinders or won't allow risky, vulnerable acts of intimacy. The need to protect ourselves overrides feelings of intimacy. In cases like this, even if one believes they should allow intimate pleasure in spite of a nagging need for safety, the primitive need for self-preservation leaves an underlying resistance or repulsion. Two parts of the same brain are having opposite reactions. Repulsion is a strong word, but if you ever heard the other say, "Don't touch me," then you can understand. Actually, you don't have to hear the words to know. Any resistance in thought or words or actions is enough to signal that one does not want pleasuring. It's a red flag, and it cannot be ignored without damage to the relationship. Stop. A loving person whose desire is to help the other with mutual pleasuring will always make sure the pleasuring is wanted. So, what if you so what do you do if you are a loving person? You provide safety and the other does not want your pleasure. The best approach is to postpone pleasuring. Continue being a loving, kind person as an organic, authentic aspect of your being and wait for more understanding about the other's reticence. That reticence is a manifestation of the other's wall of protection, the natural, normal way that humans protect their self. That wall of protection will only come down in the presence of safety. You prove your safety by being a loving, kind person authentically all the time in every area of your life. I hate this next part. You may never know why one erects their wall of protection. If you are a loving person, I can assure you that the wall of protection probably has nothing to do with you. Something has happened with the other to make the wall go up. Fortunately, the wall will come down most of the time in the presence of safety, in the presence of love. Let's get back to wanted pleasuring. What makes pleasuring so important for your emotional connection is what it does to your brain. Pleasure releases brain chemicals that affect the desire and the reward areas of your brain. And pleasuring releases the bonding brain chemical oxytocin. There's so much written about oxytocin that I encourage you to spend an hour or two searching for and reading about it. Even some of the scholarly research articles are rather stimulating. You will discover that oxytocin is an important bonding, read emotional connections. It's important for bonding in sexual intimacy and orgasm and in parenting, especially with infants for both women and men. Now, this is really an important point that I didn't quite understand for a long time, and that was that the release of oxytocin in men happens just as much as it does in women, who have, of course, the benefit of even nursing their infants, which releases all kinds of wonderful oxytocin. But men have similar or the same levels of oxytocin when they hold their infant babies as well. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was. Let's get back to that. I use oxytocin as a metaphor for pleasuring and a key component for creating, sustaining, and maintaining emotional connections in relationships. What makes my thinking about pleasuring different is that I see pleasuring not as an event, not as a time-limited sexual experience, but as a lifestyle, a mindset, something that is constantly and continually happening in a relationship. We are pleasuring in the bedroom and at the grocery store. Oh, wait a minute, that didn't come out right. Well, you know what I mean. LOL. I put a capital LOL there. As a partner in a relationship, my goal is to be a constant source of delight everywhere, all the time. Please underline and highlight that last sentence. right now and make sure that it's your own mantra. If it is your goal to be a constant source of delight, then you will have mastered the art of pleasuring and sustaining a strong emotional connection. The question is, how do you stimulate oxytocin in your relationship and be a constant source of delight? I will answer that question from Jennifer and my experience. We had a little thing happen this morning. We're talking about a problem that we're working on. And it was fun to do that from a perspective of being a constant source of delight. There are three types of pleasuring. Are you ready? Pleasuring thoughts, pleasuring words, and pleasuring acts. I'm chuckling as I write this because I write about three types of kindness also: kind thoughts, kind words, and kind acts. Good thoughts, good words, and good acts are almost as old as humanity, and I'm sure that my ideas will be beneficial to you. So let's begin now with pleasuring thoughts. Let your mind run wild with thoughts about pleasuring. Think about what a wonderful human being your beloved is. When you think about how wonderful they are, your brain sends messages to the muscles in your face to contract in the shape of a smile, and your body postures in readable ways that sends wordless messages, which is, I'm thinking good thoughts about you. Your good thoughts will have a loving effect on them and stimulate your brain, their pleasure brain chemicals. Boom! You just pleasured your loved one just by thinking good thoughts. You become a source of delight. You are amazing. You know how to control your thoughts. Seize control of your thoughts. And every time you look at or you are with your beloved, think loving, kind thoughts about them. I need to read that again. Seize control of your thoughts, and every time you look or are with your beloved, think loving, kind thoughts about them. Admire their hair, their smile, their creativity. It goes without saying, nevertheless, eliminate every negative thought about them. There's nothing more sexy than eliminating every single negative thought that you have about your beloved. Be uber intentional and focus. Concentrate. Make your thoughts count. Your beloved is constantly reading you. Let them catch you thinking loving thoughts. I like that. Stop thinking that it is impossible to constantly think loving thoughts. Why place limits on your ability to think loving thoughts? Even paying attention and solving problems together is loving. Yes, even disagreeing and arguing can be loving. Don't you think the other knows when you respect them? And stay engaged in working out issues? Of course they do. Limits placed on having loving thoughts about the other are self-imposed, and they do not take into consideration your miracle brain, which controls, creates, innovates, solve problems, and plans for the future. You can do this. You can control every thought that you have about your beloved. Imagine the effects of knowing that your loved one wants to be a constant source of delight in your life. Imagine that. Imagine that your loved one wants to be a constant source of delight in your life. Imagine what it would be like that every time that you looked at your beloved one, you can see their thinking, loving thoughts about you. How would that make you feel? You would feel loved. You would feel emotionally connected. Gosh, sometimes I can't believe I wrote that. Pleasuring words. How's our time? Yeah, I'm going to do one more section. Only speak pleasuring words to your beloved. Constantly. All the time. Never stop. Words are more powerful than you can imagine. Here's an example. After a romantic meal at a beachside restaurant, a young couple strolls next to the waves, hand in hand. They reach a promenade overlooking the ocean, and they stop to behold the beauty of the setting sun. Then he casually drops on one knee and holds up a ring for her to see. Her heart starts racing with anticipation. Oh my God, he's going to ask me, she thinks. She draws her hands to her face in utter amazement. And then he says these words. Will you marry me? Those few spoken words are the most important words she has ever heard. They are transforming words. 4 words packed with so much meaning that she will literally never be the same, and she will never forget. Everything will change because of those words. Those are powerful words. Those are pleasurable words. Even ordinary words can be pleasuring. I refer to Jennifer as my beloved, love, and sweetheart. These are terms of endearment, right? When she asks for my assistance with something like, can you help me with this? I will reply, yes, love. When my phone rings, her photo appears with the name beloved. And I will answer, hello, my beloved. In the movie The Princess Bride, do you remember that movie, The Princess Bride? Hey, this is probably a great weekend for you to go and see that movie again for the 1000th time, right? In the movie The Princess Bride, the character Wesley says to his beloved Buttercup, as you wish. Those are pleasuring words. I frequently hear people answer the phone when their partner calls saying, what? In case you don't know, what is not a pleasuring word. What is a meaningful word, though. It conveys that the other is an interruption, that they don't have time for them, that you don't want to talk with them, that you wish that they'd go away. Just in case you were not aware, those thoughts, those words, are not pleasuring. The idea behind pleasuring words is to be a constant source of delight for the other. Pleasuring words are warm, affirming, inviting, revealing welcome, conveying desire, and wanting. They include words like yes. Think about yes. Yes implies acceptance. The feeling that yes gives is like using your debit card at the grocery store and the card reader displays approved. Please and thank you are more than common courtesies. Please and thank you step up the exchange, acknowledging the request as significant and meaningful, conveying to the other that they are significant and meaningful is pleasuring. Using negative words is anti-pleasuring, and yet they're so prevalent among couples. This is disheartening to me. When I hear one use negative words, it's hard for me to believe that the sender is unaware and is unintentional about being rude, even mean. It's hard for me to believe that the sender is unaware of and is unintentional about being rude and even mean. I need to start that sentence again because it sounds like it's a duplicate, but it's not. Listen to carefully. If it's hard for me to believe that the sender is unaware and unintentional about being rude, even mean, how much more must they feel rude and mean to the receiver? Shut up! Or even not now, sends a powerful rejection and contempt. In case you didn't know, shut up and not now are not pleasuring words and do not convey that you are a source of constant delight. I got an LOL there. Seriously, the use of contemptuous words in a relationship is always a sign of a troubled relationship. The user of negative words in a relationship sends a powerful negative message to the other. The results of negative words is that the receiver does not feel safe, erects the wall of protection, and slows or stops any emotional connectivity. In case you were wondering, that's not good. What is good is when a couple agrees to only use loving, pleasuring words with each other. I can imagine you and your partner sitting down and agreeing to pleasure each other constantly and all the time with pleasuring words. Honey, you might say, feel free to use your own term of endearment. Let's have a serious talk about only using pleasuring words. The other might say, what makes you think about using pleasuring words? You might say, good question. By the way, good question are affirming, pleasuring words in this context. I was reading in Brian Martin's book about how important pleasuring words are in sustaining and maintaining a strong emotional connection in a relationship, and I want to maintain a strong emotional connection. Said like that, those words are more than pleasuring. They're almost sexy. The other says, okay, I'm all in. How do we begin? You say, well, Martin says the idea about pleasuring words is to be a constant source of delight for the other. I want to be a constant source of delight for you. Having said this, you should expect that the other leaves their seat and comes close to you and wants to snuggle. You might even be able to feel your body secrete oxytocin. Should that happen, you may want to let nature take its course and do what comes naturally. I wouldn't be surprised. Or you can continue the conversation about how important words are, which words you might use, and when you might use them. By the way, the answer to when you might use them is always. This conversation will make for a stronger emotional connection. But we're from New Jersey. We don't talk that way. We just like to say how it is without any of that frilly stuff. I've heard that statement or something like that many times before. Whether you are from New Jersey or New York or the busy streets of Mumbai, it makes no difference. Your style of communication is culturally based. And the only reason you communicate that way is because it is the sanctioned way of being in your particular culture. And that's the way that you grew up, knowing it in your family and your community. But guess what? You have a human brain with a desire and a reward center and a healthy flow of oxytocin in you too. I do have one caution for you. When you start using pleasuring words, you'd better be in good shape. Your loved one is going to be all over you. And I don't want you to have a heart attack. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And next time I'll pick up with pleasuring actions. Okay. I think you know what that means, or do you? Join me next week. I'm Brian Martin, and every week at this time, every Saturday morning anyway, I read from my book until we're done and we're getting close to the end. Oxytocin is the O in love, and soon it will be available at every outlet in the world. So that's a fun thought, isn't it? Hey, leave your comments, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Oh, and by the way, I have another broadcast on Sunday mornings on my religious Facebook page, my spiritual Facebook page, at Rev B. Martin. And there I have my video blog called What Was Jesus Thinking? It's always interesting. I'm always curious about why we think the way that we do, and this video blog gives us an opportunity to examine our thinking from a spiritual perspective in a different way. I hope that you're able to join me there. And of course, all of my videos are available at my YouTube channel, and I'll leave the link there for you to have, and so that you can go and see all the videos. Have a great day. Stay cool. Bye-bye. You are